name's Glenn, and I grew up in Star Valley, Wyoming. Was raised LDS, a very strict, strong LDS family, and it's always been a very important part of my life.
I was raised in Salt Lake. I'm Kent.
Who are we with? My sister and my mom. Hi!
Growing up with Candice, she was artistic from the time she was old enough to think.
She was funny and bubbly and just cute. She was happy.
Candice was 15 or 16. We got married. She's the oldest. I would say our relationship started out with a lot of reservations, and it grew through time. She's always been a sweetheart as far as her heart.
When we got older, she became unsure of herself. I realized Candice might be gay when I had called her a lesbian in a mean way. And she was very offended by that. And that was the first big sign to me that I might have struck a chord there. And I'm not proud of that. She was in high school suffering the most.
Because at this point you can look back and think about it. There were times when we would just joke about it, because she had such a hard time being Mr. Prince Charming, you know. We just thought, nobody's ever going to live up to what she's looking for. Plus, all of her idols were all girls. I would always get frustrated with her.
And I would stalk her on Facebook. I started to see pictures that she was posting, and I thought, even best friends don't sit that close.
Well, she didn't really tell me. I kind of guessed, just because I could see the sadness and the anxiety and the stress and all the things she was going through, and I knew something was up.
We were in the car, and she was twiddling with her hands on the side of the car, and she seemed pretty nervous. And I thought this might be the talk. When she started to tell me, she was telling me, remember that boy I was telling you about? And she was having just the hardest time. And I remember just cutting her off and saying, was it a girl? And she didn't talk for a minute. And then we both started laughing, because she knew that I had known, and she realized that this wasn't going to be a difficult talk.
She dated in high school her whole life. Like, she'd been on many dates with boys, and so I kind of was in denial about it, thinking that it was just a phase, or that it was something that she could, you know, choose to be with a boy if she wanted to. And I think the turning point for me, the hardest thing for me, was the time that I was shopping at Walmart, and she sent me a text message, and I was in Texas and she was in Logan, Utah, and she said, "Mom, I'm too sad, I'm too scared, I can't do this anymore." And she listed off several pills that she had taken, different kinds, different amounts, and I had no way to get to her. I was terrified, and at that moment, it was the time that I decided I was not going to try to change her anymore.
My mother is so supportive and loving and wonderful for Candice.
It was a bit of a shock at first. I wasn't really prepared, and I hadn't been involved in anything. I hadn't really known anyone that had gone through that, so I didn't have an opportunity to understand it until it was my child. And I took the time to read a lot about it, and to ask a lot of questions, and to do a lot of research. And the information I found out helped me to understand that lifestyle and helped me to understand her. And gave me the opportunity to learn more about what she was dealing with and why. When she finally realized that she could be who she was and still be loved and accepted by her family, then she became the Candice that we knew and loved. And so, you know, I have a great relationship with her, and we're very close, very close.
Candice coming out didn't affect our relationship, not at all. I think, if anything, I made it stronger because I understood. Once I had realized, looking back, it was one of those things where you were like, I always knew. When people asked me, when did you know? I said, I always knew. And I may not have understood what it was, but I always knew Candice was unique.
I've been frustrated at times with her choice and partners, girlfriends. It's like, it wouldn't matter if it was a girl or a boy, you know, didn't like them. Like, are you kidding me, you know?
She's always wanted her one person.
And that's when I actually started getting used to it, is when I started to think of it normally. When we met Megan, it was a tremendous blessing. It's hard to explain, but it's just like any child. You want them to find somebody that they're going to be happy with, but you absolutely trust with. And it's hard to explain, but it's an answer to prayers. And I know that's hard for people to understand and accept, but we knew that Candice was who she was, and she deserved to be happy, and she deserved to find somebody to be happy with. So that's the biggest thing. She's better in all relationships now because she's happy. So everybody is enjoying that blessing because of that.
If you'd have told me 10 years ago that I would legally be marrying the love of my life and still have my mother smiling at my side, I would have never believed you. Most girls where we come from don't get to have this or even see this, and I never even hoped this for myself. But my mother and my sister, who are both here today, they hoped it for me, and they hoped it in a way that they made me believe it could happen too. I'm so grateful to have them in my life. They love me enough to know what makes me the most happy, and they love me enough to let me be the most happy, even if it goes against their beliefs and religion. And I believe that there is no greater love than that.